My child's mother betrayed me by having an affair with my best friend. Back when we were just dating, I had no clue that she was meeting up with my best friend at 5 in the morning to hit the gym. After my work shifts in the afternoon, my friend and I would work out together. Interestingly, she would sometimes show up there unexpectedly and focus on me, barely acknowledging my friend. Whenever we hung out with friends at restaurants or bars, she'd shower me with attention and affection in front of everyone, sticking close to me. However, if I got up to order a drink or use the restroom, I'd return to find them deep in conversation, and they'd immediately change their behavior when I approached. Since my sister accused me of dominating conversations, I figured I was being overbearing and not giving them space to talk. So whenever I noticed this, I simply trusted them both completely. They both shared an interest in astrology and were thrilled that their zodiac signs matched as Virgos. Eventually, I grew uncomfortable with the direction the relationship was taking, so I decided to end it. She was persistent about us getting back together, putting in a lot of effort. She'd come over to my apartment after my work shifts, trying to seduce me. She'd be dressed in sexy lingerie and wouldn't leave until she satisfied me. However, things took a strange turn with my friends. My best friend started avoiding hanging out, and I noticed the rest of the group excluding me from their plans. I asked my buddy what was going on, why I wasn't being invited anymore, and he'd say it was all last-minute planning and they assumed I'd be busy. Later on, another friend revealed that he would tell the group he wanted to invite me, but then tell them I was too busy to join. He never reached out to me. Instead, he contacted my ex and invited her. She was excited to go drinking and clubbing with the group and him every time. My best friend excluded me from events so he could invite my ex as his date in the group. Despite all the ongoing drama for months, she's putting in a lot of effort to get us to date again, doing all she can, and he's just enjoying the ride for now. I'll admit I'm not the strongest guy, and despite all the headaches she brought, I'd still fall for her visits because I knew she was up for some fun. Eventually, I wizened up and realized her constant presence was just giving me temporary satisfaction while preventing me from meeting new girls. I took a trip out of town for a few months to break the toxic cycle. But after a whole summer, I figured out that I genuinely enjoyed her company and should be open to compromises. We had been together for 2.5 years, so we already knew each other well. After months of not talking, I approached her and asked if we could start anew. She was really upset, somehow knowing that I had been dating someone else while we were broken up. I had no idea how she found out. At this point, I still didn't know that she and my best friend were hanging out the whole time. I made sure to keep my personal matters private to avoid disrupting my life in case this new attempt didn't work out. However, she oddly guessed many things about me with surprising accuracy. I was eventually compelled to admit, yeah, that actually happened. Sure, I did talk to another girl, and a lot of other things she just wouldn't let go of. After she relentlessly pushed me and insisted that honesty was crucial for this to succeed, I ended up spilling all my private details, even though we were already broken up. Following this, she took it a step further, saying that simply sharing wasn't enough, and if I truly meant it, I had to marry her right then and there or make her pregnant that night. She caught me off guard by suggesting we elope, even proposing that we could get someone she knew as a witness and use a quick venue. I did want to reconcile, but both options felt extremely rushed. I thought that maybe if we had intimacy, I could avoid getting her pregnant, just like it had always been the case. So within a week, I chose to engage in unprotected intimacy with her as an alternative to getting married. And that's how things unfolded. After that, everything started to go downhill. Firstly, she was against taking a pregnancy test. We had a bunch of extra pregnancy tests, and even though I knew it was too early, I jokingly suggested that she pee on one of them. She came up with a ton of excuses for not doing it until a month later. I sometimes wonder if she was worried she might already be pregnant. On another note, once my best friend learned that I was taking my relationship with her more seriously, he got upset with me and started giving me reasons why I should consider dating someone else instead. Then we found out that she was pregnant from that night, and she gave me an ultimatum. But overall, things seemed good, and I was happy with how they were going. However, her sister started asking me strange questions like, "Why are you so nice to her? And why are you still with her?" Her family seemed surprised that I was continuing to date her. That's when I started noticing red flags. Her sister began mentioning things that she shouldn't have known about, like my best friend's nickname, the type of car he drives, and some of the music he liked. I asked her how she knew him, and she proceeded to tell me stories about how he frequented their house a lot. She described a time when they walked in on him licking her chest, and how she and my girlfriend stayed up late discussing how my best friend was so desperate to be with my girl that he even performed BJ on her to persuade her to have intimacy. I didn't want to believe it, but I started keeping track of everything she said. I observed things for months, and slowly everything started becoming clear. Learning about all this made me feel depressed, and I ended up drinking more than usual during her pregnancy. I hadn't confronted her about it yet, but it seemed like she could sense that something was about to blow up. I began asking vague questions and watched her squirm as she told lies. Then I'd witness one lie leading to another lie, trying to cover up the truth. She'd keep lying to me as if I had no clue. She'd look me right in the eyes and lie convincingly. My so-called best friend, who used to be quiet around me, couldn't even muster an apology when I confronted him. He just stayed silent, avoiding my gaze. As it turned out, he was the one feeding her information about my personal life that I had shared with him in confidence, all in an attempt to make her dislike me. The two people I trusted the most betrayed me, and the worst part is, they both teamed up against me. Now I'm stuck dealing with this overly apologetic woman who's raising my child. I'm also stuck with this lingering trauma that's made me reluctant to form new friendships or spend quality time with anyone because I fear getting hurt again by building connections. It's hard to trust people these days. I think the trauma has affected both of us, because she cheated and lied to me repeatedly. It seems like she assumes I'm doing the same. Despite enduring all the pain and difficulties, I've remained completely faithful, yet I'm the one constantly on the defensive, facing groundless accusations. It seems like every other day, a new insecurity arises and our arguments escalate to yelling, cursing, and slamming doors. My patience with her insecurities is wearing thin, and I've even reached a breaking point where I've cried, punched a wall, and injured my hand. I've never been aggressive before. I was shocked at how I lost control. I love my son deeply, and I can see that he's happiest when he sees his mom and me getting along. He's perceptive and knows when things are going well between us. There are days when I try to avoid unnecessary fights with her by going for a drive, but when I return, the baby seems upset and only wants his mom. It feels like if we split up, it'll definitely affect him. However, if we stay and keep arguing all the time, we'll just set a bad example for him. It's painful, even though I hate admitting it. She really pushed me to come clean before we decided to have a baby, but she never opened up herself. She never confessed that she was sneaking around with my best friend behind my back, and when I confronted her about it, she says, "I loved you so much that I did what I thought was necessary to keep us together. Sorry for loving you too much." Now she's saying we need to stay together for the sake of the baby, and that it's also the best choice for us. Sometimes it feels like I might have a heart attack from the dramatic and pointless arguments we have. It's kind of laughable, really. I'm trying my best to provide her with a good life, working and paying for everything while she stays home, but it doesn't bring me any satisfaction. It's like I'm doing this to prevent her and the baby from being hurt. That's when I start wondering why people resort to cheating. Feeling trapped with no way out yet unable to stay in. Now for the top comment. It's obvious that OP's predatory baby mama possesses the skillful craftiness and radar to sniff out the kind of man he is with low EQ. What makes his condition obvious is the way he's able to articulate what he knows about her deception and remains unwilling to the necessary steps to confront and deal with the known facts. Thank you for listening to the story to the end, and if you like it, please support us with a like as well as subscribe to the channel. Write in the comments section what you think about the story.